everybody, and welcome to Stash It Monday on the Crafty Maven Getaway channel. I'm Julie from Spend Less Craft More, and you'll see from the mood board this week I have picked the kind of bronzy gold colours, and I really like that picture with the starry night sort of background and the scripty font. So the day before I had already got out my silhouette and made that star stencil that you can see there, and also my title which says just tell your story. Now it's Stash It Monday, and the biggest stash item, or the oldest stash item I guess, that I used this time around was actually those little paints that you can see there. They're Lumiere's paints, which I bought a little sample pack of Lumiere's paints, I don't even know how many years ago, for a totally different project which I still haven't finished. So they had never been used, those little paints, and I was a little bit anxious about whether they were even still going to work. I could see that they were quite separated in the little bottles, but after a mix they were good to go. So hopefully I will one day get back to that other project. In the meantime, they're getting their first use on this page here today. Yeah, so as you can see, I've mixed those paints with the with some texture paste, and I'm just smooshing it through my stencil. I don't want to cover the whole page entirely. I decided to colour the stars mainly just, it's not actually a night themed page. I wanted it for just a bit of an interesting effect more than to represent the night sky, so I guess that's part of the reason why I decided to make my stars coloured. The story behind this page is actually about, so my oldest son Rowan, a couple of years ago went on a trip with school to Vietnam, and one night he was getting a lift home from soccer practice with our minister from our church, and he was mentioning to Stephen, the minister, about his trip, and Stephen said, would it be alright if I interviewed you at church about what having a cross-cultural experience was like as a young person, with a view to encouraging some of our young people to do some short-term mission. So of course Rowan was delighted to do that, and so this is just a little page talking about that. So because I had a square, just that little square photo, my next thought was to just go straight to my offcuts to get some more papers to do a little bit of layering to go around my photo. So that's what I'm doing now. So again, all those papers are just from my stash, from a variety of, I guess, collections and ages. The newest thing on this page would definitely actually just be the black cardstock, which I bought a whole pack of very recently. Yeah, so I'm just trimming the bits down and working out how I like them, and you'll be pleased to know I didn't make you sit through me putting tape on the back, and so all that little package is sort of stuck together now, ready to go. And I'm deciding where to put that with that grid paper that's going to have my journaling on it, and of course with my title. So I'm just having a little play around with that now, as you can see, and I decide that to trim that grid paper back a little bit just so that the title doesn't overlap, although that might have looked alright as well. Yeah, so I actually struggled a bit with this page, not that I didn't like it, but whether it was I guess a fancy enough or a special enough page to put into a process video, because in the end it does end up being really very simple. It really is pretty much just offcuts. You'll see soon that there's no not even any bought embellishments. What I end up using is just some more of that gold paper that I'm using on my title. And some of those just the stars that came out of that stencil when I cut that off. By the way, that's I finally got around to, I bought some of those little fine nozzle bottles a while ago, and I finally got around to putting some tacky glue in, and that works really well. I actually spared you watching about a minute or so of me trying to get my glue pen to work. I hope I do get it to work, because it's quite new, so it would be very sad if it dies on me. But anyway, so that's what I'm using there, and then in a minute you'll see I just put something down on it to make sure it sticks, and it does work really well over the texture paste. So that was worth using that particular adhesive for that job. So yeah, like I was saying, it's ended up being a fairly simple page, but I just wanted to say to you guys, you know what, not every page has to be, you know, an award-winning page. They don't all have to be magazine worthy. You know, our point of scrapbooking isn't about winning prizes. It's just really about recording our memories and telling our stories. So I guess that's what, and I guess I feel the pressure a little bit when I do a process video, that it does have to be a little bit more special. Hopefully you guys don't always feel like that with every page that you make at home, but I guess that's the message I got, at least for myself, and for maybe anyone else out there that sometimes puts a bit more pressure on yourself that you need, is if you're happy with the page, it doesn't matter if it's not covered with bought expensive embellishments, or it's a little bit more simpler than the pages that you see on YouTube or Pinterest or wherever. I mean, if you want to do stuff like that, that's fine, but don't put the pressure on yourself that it has to be like that all the time. I've recorded my memory, I've told my story, and that's what counts. And it's actually, you know, it's a good thing if you can be happy with a page that you haven't spent loads of money on. What I did do though, because I was having this kind of dilemma in my head, is I did kind of leave the page overnight to come back to it and see whether I did want to add anything more onto it. And in the end, obviously I added just my journaling, and I did add some of my homemade enamel dots, and that's the finished page. And that's yeah, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you're ready to get out there and get into your stash, and I'll catch you guys soon.